is it not just suspicious? I mean, I think Republicans are probably more number wonks than anybody else, but to me, when you get in a situation where suddenly from 100 and some thousand to over 1 million absentee ballots, it only makes sense that there would be a higher increase of people screwing them up and having them thrown out. Yet we suddenly had a much lower percentage rejected. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And that's what a lot of people are telling me as well. So just that in itself seems like it's enough reason to look into it further.
Let me address
Yeah,
that.
let's hear an explanation of that.
Yeah,
Hey, Gabriel, I would like Ryan Germany to address that specifically. Thank you.
Ryan?
So I will address it, and then I have to get off. One thing that we have seen thrown around is a comparison of the rejection rate of ballots in 2018 to the rejection rate in 2020. And what it's doing is it's taking one reason for rejections in 2020 and comparing them to every single reason for rejections in 2018. But obviously, those two things are not the same thing. The number one reason ballots are rejected in Georgia, and it's been this way for a long time, is because they get here late. They arrive after the deadline. We don't have final numbers on that yet for this election because counties have not reported those yet. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, on signature issues specifically, what we know is the amount of ballots rejected for signature issues, I said the percent of ballots rejected for signature issues was the exact same in 2020 as it was in 2018. And that's after the counties gave the voters the opportunity to cure those signature issues. So what that means is counties initially identified a higher rate of ballots that had signature issues. And then some people cured them through the process set out in the legislature. That process is sign an affidavit, bring in a copy of your photo ID, and then you cure your ballot. So the idea that it went down is just false. It stayed the same, and that's even after cure. So initially, more were identified. So this, throwing out false numbers and comparing one slice of the pie to the whole pie doesn't help. I mean, I think, each of us on this call, you guys are in positions of leadership. There's a responsibility to get out accurate information. I've been in Secretary of State's office since 2014. So I know what it's like when people get out inaccurate information about elections. And it's been my life for 2.5 years. I don't think that's I don't think that's a boat that we as conservatives should jump on, So I just say, let's be careful. When you see something on Twitter, it's probably not true.
Ryan, I appreciate that. I'm sorry,
let me jump in here for just a second. And then I know Rebecca wants to say something too. She's had her hands up. But Gabe and I have gone back and forth on this rejection rate. And I do understand your point that the 3.5% rejection rate in the last election included rejections other than signature matches. And we need to see what all of the rejections are when they come in. I understand that. But I also understand that I think it's in 2016, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, that in Fulton County, there were 0 ballots rejected. Or maybe 1. It was 0%.
But Mr. I have those exact numbers right here. That's why I was gonna just put this out there because I think it's all, again, Ryan's right. We need to have the exact numbers. So in Fulton County, 2016 general election, there were 443 ballots rejected for no signature, and there was one mismatch ballot rejected. In 2018, the general election, there were 275 no signature ballots rejected and 7 mismatches in 2018. Now keep in mind, in 2018 and 2016, it was about 5% voted by absentee ballot. In Fulton County in 2020, it was 28% voted by absentee ballot. There was 595 rejected for no signature. There was 85 rejected by mismatch. And then interestingly, there was 414 ballots that were dropped in the drop box with no outer or inner envelope. It was just a ballot, a loose ballot dropped in the drop box, and those were rejected as well. Those were the hard numbers from 2016, 18, and 2020 in Fulton County.
And and I'll yield to Rebecca Yardley after I make this point, but to me, this just does not pass what I call the Cindy Lou Who standard. In that great Christmas classic, The Grinch That Stole Christmas, there's a scene where Cindy Lou Who comes downstairs and sees the Grinch dressed up as Santa Claus stuffing the tree and the presents up the chimney, and she asks him, "Santa, what are you doing?" And he responds, "I'm taking the tree and the Christmas presents back to the North Pole for repairs." And she nods her head and goes back, takes a cookie and goes back to sleep. The idea that only one ballot was mismatched on signature or 7 ballots was mismatched is so ludicrous that Cindy Lou Who wouldn't even believe it. And why y'all are not jumping all over this is something that I've had a very difficult time trying to understand. Having